There are now reports surfacing that a major falling out took place between Best Picture-winning film 12 Years a Slave writer John Ridley and the film's director Steve McQueen. Speculation started at the Oscars on Sunday when John Ridley won Best Screenplay and walked past McQueen without shaking hands or acknowledging him, and then failed to thank the director during his acceptance speech. A camera then caught McQueen with a stern look on his face, making a mocking applause gesture. Later, upon winning Best Picture, McQueen returned the favor by not mentioning Ridley in his acceptance speech. John, what have we learned about this situation since the Oscars?
That people are big babies. I mean, that show, we talked about it a little bit on yesterday's show in our Oscar Roundup. I watched that video again of Steve McQueen sitting in his chair when Ridley was announced for winning his Oscar. That pouty face he was making, just going, and not even clapping, just. It's like, what are you, 6? I mean, you're a genius. You are a magnificent director, and I was rooting for your film to win, and I'm so glad it did. But these are two grown-ass men. Grow up. I mean, as I started reading more about the background of this, so for those of you who don't know, here's the basic history of it. So what you did is you had 12 Years a Slave, and you had Steve McQueen. He went out and actually got John Ridley. He picked John Ridley to write the screenplay. And I guess McQueen gave some input on it as well and helped develop the script. And when it was all said and done, Steve McQueen asked Ridley, said, hey, can I have a co-writer's credit on this? And Ridley said no. So being upset by that answer, he then went to Fox Searchlight. He went to the studio, Steve McQueen, and tried to get them to side with him to force his name on as a co-writing credit. And they said no. From what I understand, he then took it to the WGA to get their ruling on it, and they said no. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, look, even if you're right and you did a lot of work on that script and you deserved it, the guy said no, the studio said no, the WGA said no, move on. Just get past it at some point. And as far as the writer goes, I mean, come on. You win the Oscar, you get up there, and I'm sorry, but if it wasn't for Steve McQueen and what he did on that film, nobody would know your name. No, you wouldn't be standing up there with that golden statue. So both of these guys are just enormous babies, at least in this one. Look, I have circumstances where I am an enormous baby too. We all do it sometimes. This just happened to be their time. Now, so what apparently happened was things started to get cold between them. Brad Pitt steps in to try to mediate because they're getting into the award season, and if this looks bad to awards voters, that they're fighting and arguing, so they try to keep a lid on it. They begrudgingly mention each other in the early awards, but according to the reports, that as they got later into the season, like at the BAFTAs and stuff like that, McQueen said he cannot sit at our table.
No.
And yeah, and they made him sit at another table and stuff like that. It just got brutal. God, you are two grown-ass millionaire men at the Oscars. This should be the happiest day of your life, and both of you is ostensibly are doing, like, just, it's ridiculous. I love the film. I love the work they did. I can't wait to see what both of them do next. But good heavens, people, grow up. Anyway, Amy Rose, your thoughts on this whole thing?
Let's hear it for grown-ass millionaire men. Yeah, they're being complete babies. I mean, all the controversy surrounding Woody Allen, but Cate Blanchett still thanked him in her acceptance speech. So she's obviously a classier broad. I mean, it sounds really childish through the whole experience. I mean, Steve McQueen, he is a brilliant filmmaker. He deserved all the praise he got on this. The script was very well done, but just hug it out and be men about it. Like, I don't care if you're forcing it and really just being professional and just saying, you know, a quick thank you, da-da-da. You don't need to go into detail about it, but I think it sounds really childish all around. And come on, McQueen, don't do the fake. Just don't clap. Give him a nod. Like, that's going to draw more attention to it anyway.
Just put on the fake smile. It's the Oscars, for heaven's sake.
It's silly.
Just clap and smile. I mean, who cares? And hate
Show
him
some
afterwards.
professionalism, people.
Yeah. There's a thing called professionalism. I was going to bring that up, where it's like, you know what?
What's
like,
that?
The outside world doesn't have to know all the inside turmoil that happens, and that happens on every production you're in. People get in arguments or whatever, and you learn to, like, hey, that's behind the scenes. That's why they call it behind the scenes. And a professional way of talking about people and acting in the real world wasn't on display that night. Because I remember right when he won the award, he walked past Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I was like, mentioned it when we were watching the Oscars. I was like, that was weird. Because it's weird. And I mean, and their attitudes with each other was
then
like.
he's hugging David O. Russell further down. He totally cold-shouldered his own direction.
And it takes away from the film.
It's definitely a bit of a crybaby thing. But all this really shows me is that the wounds are still super fresh.
Yeah.
They are not scars. They are both bleeding heavily. I don't even know. Did it really go to the WGA? Did it go all that way?
The news source that broke this thing was The Wrap, and The Wrap said it actually went all the way to the WGA.
Well, then it is like some bitter stuff because I mean, regardless as to like how it got mediated, I'm sure McQueen had a lot of input. I mean, it's based on a real book, and it was already adapted as a movie in I think it was like 1995. Already 12 Years a Slave was a movie.
And you both won Oscars.
So yeah, this
Chill
one
out.
won an Oscar. I mean, it's like, this is amazing recognition for an incredible film.
Great film.
A teamwork, a team of people working together, although, at this point, it's fell apart, so I guess.
And look, the thing is, I like that you brought professional because, like, the reality is, not a lot of people know this. I hate John Schnepp. He's just a horrible, horrible human being. And and he thinks the same of me. But you know what? When the cameras come on, we'll smile because we're professional. We're
But
totally
I'm straight
professional.
lovable, son, so nobody hates me.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, that's where me and Campia both team up and hate Amy Rose.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that keeps us together is our mutual loathing of Amy Rose Eisenbach. But we get on camera and we make it work.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.